Welcome to the greatest place in the world, my doghouse. This is going to be about my wife mainly. And as hard as this is for me, I'm going to let the world know. My wife has Alzheimer's. Now, yes, this isn't some joke, this is the real deal. The past year, she's gotten a little worse. She's still not super bad, but yes, she has Alzheimer's, and it's a disease that people want to forget. Now, I've had a brother in law die of it. My wife's mother died of it. Matter of fact, when my wife's mom died of it, they had a meeting a couple of years earlier. She was she had it for quite a while, but the meeting was with a couple of her sisters. I volunteered and my wife that my wife could go there for and take care of her mother. Well, they didn't like the idea. Less than a month later, a lot of it is I didn't get along with my mother-in-law at all. But that's here and there. But they come back and said it was a good idea. And what that idea was my wife would go down there, and it was about 14 miles away. She'd go down there Sunday night and come back Friday night. Well, this went on for 2 years before they put her in a rest home because she was kind of hard to handle. A couple 3 months later, she passed away. I have a cousin that also died of it. She got a nursing program started at a college here in Idaho, and she was instrumental in doing that. Then she went to the University of Utah and ran the nursing program there for some time. I should say the nurses. She was over them. And my mom took care of her for a year and a half or so until she had to go in the nursing home, my cousin. And my mom was elderly at the time, but she gave herself to that, my cousin. My wife gave herself to her mother for Alzheimer's. Now, my wife, like I said, does have Alzheimer's. And like I said, this isn't some BS story. This is a truth. And it's hard for me at times to talk about it because I see her progression down. It's not super bad at the time, but you can tell it's going down and getting a little worse and a little worse. Thank God it isn't all at once. But here's the problem as Alzheimer's goes. Like I said, people want to forget about it. Yes, family members also. My brother in law, even my cousin, they pretty much avoided them for the most part. My wife is the same way. Her family will not avoid her because they're all scattered out like mine, but avoid what it is. My family does the same thing with her. They recognize it, but they avoid it. In other words, they don't like to recognize Alzheimer's. And believe me, I don't either because she's my wife. But, you know, over the years, because I've seen it and been around it, it helps, but it don't help. It helps because you know what's going to be next. And it helps when you see what's happening, but you still don't really 100% accept it, but you in the way that you know what's happening, but you're going to still go that well, I guess really you try to ignore it at times. We got married I've been married one time, and that's the wife I have now. I married her in 1986, May of 1986. I ain't going nowhere, but the people recognizing Alzheimer's, they don't want to. Understandable, but it don't help. It don't help the situation. No, you're not going to change the situation, but if people would recognize it and acknowledge it does exist, people do have it, and family members are probably some of the worst ones to not recognize it. And it isn't out of hate, it's they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to see the end result. None of us do, but you have to start recognizing stuff like this. You know, it's hard on me, real hard on me. Most people won't even acknowledge it. I mean, I had uh, a niece of my wife's one day. And it hasn't been that long ago, and she recognized it, and she thanked me for being with my wife, which is far and few between. But it was nice to hear. It was nice to be recognized. But it's just not my wife. It's other dealings with Alzheimer's as a whole. It, it's just amazing when you see it, because I live it. Like I said, you know, others in my family, my cousin, my wife's mom. You see the aggression that it takes on a person, and even though the families try to ignore a lot of it, it's still there. Now, like I said, I with my mother-in-law, we did not get along at all because nobody was going to tell me how to live or how my wife and I should live, and she always thought I was a bad, not bad, but we really didn't get along. I'd never go to her house for Thanksgiving or Christmas. We did go a couple of times to her sister's house and she'd be there, which was fine. But I said we can't do it. But I'm the one that suggested she do what she did to take care of her mom. That was my idea because even though I didn't get along with her, that didn't mean that my wife's mom was not her mom. And I sacrificed 2 years to have my wife go take care of her mother. That is what you call recognizing a problem. Yeah, some things she would do it's funny, but it's sad in the long run. Like we never did get, like I said, I never did get along with her, but towards the end, she would remember me, and she always tried to get me to move in her basement and live there. They had a basement house and they built on the top, so they had a full house down below, and she kept trying to get me to go live in there with them. Interesting for somebody, who didn't get along. And another time, two of my wife's sisters and her took her to the hospital in Utah for a checkup, which she did a couple times a year. And on the way back, they stopped at a grocery store or a convenience store. I don't have no clue where. But she was in with her daughters, And they're all of a sudden like, where did mom go? She was out standing by the car, and they went out and they said, Mom, what are you doing out here? And she said, well, somebody had to watch the kids. Everybody went inside. Nobody was here to watch the kids. No kids there. In one way, funny. In another way, sad. Another thing, and my wife had to kind of divert and not tell her because she didn't want to hurt her. One day, when she was taking care of her, she looked out the window and and my wife's dad had been gone for quite a few years, but she looked at Darlene and said, I am really mad at your dad. He should be home from the, right now. When he gets home, we're going to have it out. You know, what? How do you approach that? My wife just brushed it off and went in a different direction talking to her. But honestly, they believe that. They see that. She believed, her husband was still alive. She believed there was kids out in that car. That's where you go with this. My brother-in-law, they had a deal because my sister used to work for a convenience store that was close to the house. He would sneak down there and they'd call my sister up and they'd go, Mike just took 2 packs of cigarettes and 3 candy bars, and she'd go down and pay for it. He didn't know what he was doing was wrong, but in his mind, it was okay. My wife hasn't got to that point by far. Not thank God. I know one day it's going to happen, and it's going to be hard on me. It's going to be hard on my family and her family, even though they want to ignore it exists. But this disease, and it is a disease, maybe one day they'll have a cure, maybe they won't. But you don't give up on a person. Never. You know, it's hard enough on her because she knows what the results are. It's harder on her than me, but it's really hard on me too. This is a disease that affects everybody around you. You don't have to be related to them. If you know them and been around them for a while and you see the digression in life, it's devastating. It is worse than somebody dying of old age. We're not young by any means, but my wife's 66. But still, you don't want, when they're older, you know what's going to happen. But when they're older and they have this disease, you know what the end result could be. I'm not saying she ain't got several years. Could be. Could be months. It could be years. Some people, her mother probably, from the time she was diagnosed to actually passing away, was probably close to 6 years. We got my wife's early, so we know, because I seen symptoms she was doing in life because of what I've seen, and got her in, and the psychiatrist and the doctor both reckon, well, 2 doctors and the psychiatrist, because you got to go through the psychiatrist after the other two, and I was right on the what I seen. They were amazed that I picked up on it when I did, because it was real early in stages. And she, like I said, she's not bad. She is getting worse, but they were amazed uh, that I picked up on it when I did. And I just had to explain to them I've been around it for a long time. Different people. Doesn't make it any better, but at least I recognized it. And my wife kind of thought maybe she did, but that was a couple, 3 years ago. But she's still, like I said, a little worse here and there. She forgets names. She, we can go to the restaurant. I mean, she'll go, I know that person. What's his name? And she was really, really good at names. She just remembered names all the time. I'm different. I mean, I have a hard time, even as a kid to now, recognize if I don't see them, I can't tell you somebody's name a lot of the times. I have to see their face, but I forget names. That was something she never did. And and she does stuff that that it's the effect of that. You have It's really hard sometimes not to get upset or mad because once they say something, it's not them talking, but that's not what first comes to your mind. You get upset, you get mad, and I try to avoid it. I walk away a lot. Like right now, she's fine. We went. She got yesterday cortisone shot in her leg because her knee's about gone. But she's in the house right now watching TV, and I'm out in the doghouse where I'm by myself, which I like that. I mean, me being by myself. Even if she didn't have Alzheimer's, I'd still be doing this. But my YouTube, what I do, is out for that. It helps me mentally. And the doctor, and even though I do it, the doctor told me that I should not change a lot of what I did. Well, you have to change to a point. Don't become, well, introvert, introvert really, but don't crowd yourself away and put yourself in a corner. Keep going. And there's times, if I get upset because of something she does, and I ain't going to get mad at her, I'll and I will go by myself somewhere and stay there for a while. It's really hard. Anybody that has not ever, ever gone through this has no clue. If you've gone through it, you do have a clue. I don't care if there's one or two people that gets on here and listens to this. Please let it be known to other people and have them look at this. This comes from somebody that's living it now and has been around it for years of other people. Like I said, this is a real deal. This isn't some fake thing. This isn't trying to go out there and be this wonderful guy. I'm telling you what I know and what I feel. And I know I got a lot more to learn, even though I've been around people like that or with Alzheimer's. And I'm sorry, but sometimes you do get upset. I would never hurt her, never will. You just have to sit back and take a look at what's going on around you. And you got to remember you still have to live your life, but never forget the other person. Help. If it is a spouse, you help her every step of the way. Yeah, maybe you're sacrificing some things you'd like to do, but that's more important. It's not about money, how much you have, or how little you have. supporting somebody like that is what is needed. Yes, people, like I said earlier, they'll they don't even want to recognize such a thing. But guess what? You don't recognize it, it still exists. You're not making it go away by not recognizing it. And it blows my mind how many people are willing to not recognize it in families. A good example of that, my one brother has passed away now, and he was really, really close to my cousin. They were about the same age, so they had a lot in common. And the problem was when she got bad enough, she went to the rest home. He wouldn't go visit her because he wanted to remember for what she was, which is fine, but maybe she needed some support. And that's what people don't realize about it. Just because they have a problem doesn't mean you abandon them. Family, friends, it don't matter. Don't abandon them. And like I said, my wife's not super bad right now, but you can see the digressions he's made. And it's going to keep going that way. I hope it's a long, long time yet. Some people go years and years, and some don't. It's a disease you can't put a timeline on. It's something that's just there. There's no timeline. You don't know. Doctors don't even know. But you have to be there. You can't not ignore it. Yes, I'm not feeling sorry for myself, but it's there. I have to recognize it. If I did not recognize it, I would be in worse shape. When you recognize there's a problem, you may not be able, in this case, do anything about it, but you know it exists. You know the people around you know that it exists, and you don't have to hide from it. Alzheimer's, maybe they forget, and my wife forgets here and there quite a bit more than what she used to. Doesn't mean the people around her need to forget. And the tendency is for them to forget. It's just the way life goes, I guess, but don't make it right. Don't forget that person, friend or foe or whatever. Don't forget that person because they have Alzheimer's. Embrace who that person was and is. Embrace, whether you like it or not, what's going around that person. Because it's not good, but embrace knowing what it is and why. She has a daughter that if I don't tell her, you need to call her or whatever, she'll have her mind somewhere else. And you have to remind her. Not that she has to be reminded of her daughter, but just remind her to call her or see her. Like I said, it does not go away. One day it may, but right now it is what it is, and people need to recognize it. Don't hurt that person by not recognizing who they are. Be with that person, heart, soul, and mind. You know, I can't run from it. I'm not going to run from it. I'm here for her forever. No, right now we're not hurting money wise by any means, but if she goes to the rest home, that changes a lot right there. She's not close to being to that point, but that could very well happen. I hope it don't, but there's a possibility down the road. Like I said, you just don't know. Alzheimer's is a disease that is hell. And it really is hell because you don't know the results. Sometimes if it's like cancer, you don't want cancer either. That's sick and disgusting wanting people to die of cancer. My mom, at 93 years old, died of B cell cancer, which is a 6 to 8 week deal and you're passed away. You don't want to see that. But she was 93, but still you don't want to see that. Alzheimer's, though, we knew that there was a timeline with her where she would no longer be with us. But Alzheimer's, there's no timeline. I've known people get diagnosed with it, or people that I know say, oh, my dad, within 6 months after he was diagnosed with it, he passed away. Then I know the other 8, 10 years, oh, and he's had it forever. So, like I said, you don't know. And the longer it lasts, the better you feel that person is still there, but you still know what the end result will be. And, you know, the thing of it is, I could sit here and say, I could hate somebody or don't like them. I don't know many people I really hated. There's some people I dislike. I would never wish this on anyone. I don't care for our president, but I don't wish any ill health on him at all. I feel bad for what he's going through. At some point, it'll be the end of him. But I don't care. I don't like the guy, never have. But what he's going through, I feel sorry for him for. We got to stick together on some of this stuff. You don't have to go every day and say, ooh, Alzheimer's. Recognize it and if somebody around you gets it, recognize that problem. Recognize what people go through every day with that. Recognize some that's, and like I said, with my wife, it's not too bad. It gone down on, like I said, some, but others are 100% worse than she is. Recognize the problem. Alzheimer's is not a 50th death thing. It's up there pretty high for death. But, we want to look at, well, cancer, which is bad. Like I said, my mom died of it. That we recognize, but we won't recognize Alzheimer's. And I'm telling you, being through it, I've seen so many people that way. They'll recognize cancer and they'll recognize the heart attacks, but they will not recognize Alzheimer's. They avoid it like a plague. I wish I could avoid it, but I can't. So the best thing is to recognize it. I mean, I can't say that enough. Just recognize it. Like I said, my wife's niece thanked me for staying with her. I wouldn't plan on going anywhere anyway. And it's hard. At least she recognized it and said something. I got a hostess where I go have coffee at. She don't work there no more. She's the same age as I am. She always asks how my wife's doing. There's a couple of other people that do the same thing. But even then, most others just, oh well. You can't stop it, but you can recognize it. Sooner or later, most families, at some generation, this is going to happen. Just remember how much you love them. Cherish them. Never forget them. Regardless of how hard it is, remember the love you can give them. That's right. Love them. Give them the love. Give them the support. Don't turn your back on them for any reason. Recognize Alzheimer's, but recognize the person that you knew and loved and still love. Don't put the love of a person on the back burner because they have Alzheimer's. No, there's nothing you can do about the Alzheimer's, but there is a lot you can do when you admit you still love them and will be there for them, whether it's your wife, parents, grandparents, or whoever. Remember them, cherish them, because one day they won't be here. Don't let that happen and not recognizing them. I just had to get this off my chest, and I appreciate it. Like I said, I don't care if there's 10 people on here. Let this get out and tell them about this. Remember, love when it comes to Alzheimer's, never stop loving that person for any reason. Don't make an excuse to stop loving them. One day there will be a cure. Some of them it's not going to help right now. But just remember, if you have anybody in your family that has Alzheimer's, recognize it and love that person. Don't go in the closet and ignore it. Love them. Always love them. Thank you.